This is Speak Earth. I'm Case Bradford. Thank you for tuning in to this episode with Andreas Alfaro. Andreas is a renowned acro performer and co-founder of Positive Impact Movement. They were on America's Got Talent and have performed acroyoga across the world. He's also an actor, a stuntman, and co-founder of The Awakened Warrior. We collaborated with The Awakened Warrior to co-create a sparring workshop, proceeds of which went to benefit victims of the LA wildfires. It was a great event, and I really appreciate the opportunity to connect with Andreas. He's a similar soul. We have a similar view of the world, and that's hard to find in today's age. We originally connected at Muscle Beach in Santa Monica over the fact that I had a Datsasera backpack, which is this cool hemp backpack for ninjas. The founder of Datsasera, Chris Odell, was a previous guest on this podcast. If you'd like to learn more about Datsasera, just some cool little synchronicity. This conversation was great. We had it up in a tree. This is another podcast that I made in a tree. Really enjoyed this conversation. Learned a ton from Andreas in this convo and in the month or so that I lived in his home during this nomadic experience that I'm on. Andreas is the man. He is absolutely on a hero's journey, and I'm deeply inspired by his mission and his vision. And in this conversation, you will learn more. I hope you come away inspired as well. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Andreas Alfaro. How are you?
Good, and you, Case Bradford?
Doing very well. Stoked to be in this tree with you.
Good to see you, man.
Having this conversation. Great to see you. You are a superhero.
I like to think so.
How's it feel to be a superhero?
It's like my childhood dream has come true. Ever since I was a kid, those were like the role models I would look up to, you know? Like people would ask like, who are your role models? And I would name like all the superheroes. So, you know, just doing my best to live up to our fullest potential. I believe like we're all superheroes, so. Good.
I also had a fascination with superheroes growing up, and I'm curious if you could tell me a bit about your childhood. What was it like growing up?
Well, my mom would always say like she doesn't know why she ever bought me clothes, because I spent most of my childhood in like superhero outfits. And that included I was all of them. It was like Batman, Superman, Tarzan, Zorro. So literally for like I think the first 10 years of my life I didn't wear any normal clothes.
That's a pretty good way to be, just go around town wearing superhero clothes.
Yeah, it was fun. But ever since I was a kid, I was just fascinated by these extraterrestrial beings, like non-human-like beings. And, you know, you'd see all the movies and stuff on TV, and I'd be like, oh my God, like something inside me just like knew ever since I was a kid, like, it was like, this is real. I know this is a movie, but like, this is real. We can do so much more than what we tell ourselves, or what like we're saying a like limit, a barrier here. So ever since I was a kid, I just like let everyone tell me like, you know, stories, fiction, like, you know, this isn't real, but like deep down I knew it to be true. And the more I live this life, the more I realize that we are superheroes, we just don't realize it.
When did you begin to tap into this in your life?
Like as a kid or as an adult?
As a kid, as you were growing up, when did you start to find, I have these abilities, these powers, these gifts that I can express, cultivate, and share with the world?
Well, first it started off like as a childhood innocence, you know, like you grow up not knowing what's what in the world, and I was just fascinated by the superhero world that I would see in like TV shows, movies, comics, stuff, and I just I kept that. My parents did a really great job of cultivating that inside me, like let me live that out fully, and the older I grew up, just like the more it just stayed present inside me, you know, like naturally grew up, had to become an adult and like, you know, become responsible over yourself and like other things, and that kept going. But like I never lost that like childlike innocence, or that child like the dream inside of us, that it stayed very present. And I think a lot of us, like as we grow up, we suppress that, and then the world tells us to, you gotta grow up, you can't be like thinking about these fictional things that just like books and legends and movies, like, and then we start to suppress that and we lose the magic in this life, you know?
It does happen to a lot of people. Are you familiar with the concept of the hero's journey that was elaborated by Joseph Campbell?
Yeah, a little bit, but tell me more.
it's this archetype that is present in all movies or all great works of fiction that describe the journey the protagonist or the hero goes on, where he finds the powers within himself, he faces challenges, he comes home, he shares it with the community. To give a brief summary, but it's this idea that this drive to become a hero is innate within every human being.
I strongly believe that as well, and I feel like when we suppress that, we kind of stir off from our true path, or like what we're meant to, you know. And I think it's very important for each one of us to cultivate that in many different shapes and forms, you know.
Absolutely, and one of the key aspects of the hero's journey is the calling. It's the desire within to chase a dream or a vision or a potential future that we know is possible but seems challenging.
Yeah, 100%.
When you were growing up, did you feel a calling?
Yes, and it took me a while to like really realize what that was or understand what it was. I always knew that I had a natural ability or natural tendency to gravitate towards very physical things and very physically challenging like feats, and that came very easily to me, so I knew it had to do something with movement. Never really knew what it was exactly until like I grew up later and like started, well, actually first let me backtrack. When I was younger, my mom put me in gymnastics and martial arts, and I started developing different forms of movement. And then later, as I'm like going through college and stuff, I'm like, you know, trying to figure out what I want to do in this life. And like, you know, school wants to put you in a certain mold and fit you in a certain system, be like, there's this line of career, there's this job, there's that job, and this. And then that's kind of like when the uprise of social media started to happen, and then we're starting to see all these other jobs pop up that didn't really exist before, you know. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, I don't need to know exactly what it is that I'm going to do, because maybe what I'm going to do is something new, something that I'm going to invent or is going to get invented, and I might not know now, but it will like appear and show itself to me later on.
It's a powerful realization.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Texas, but then moved to Europe. I lived in France, Italy, Monaco, and then I finished high school in Miami. And then after that, my parents moved back to Mexico. My whole family is from Mexico, actually. So I'm like culturally I'm Mexican, and like we speak Spanish at home and everything. But after my parents moved back to Mexico, I went to college in New York, lived there for 5 years, and then moved out to LA like 7 years ago.
What was it like growing up in so many different places?
It was really interesting, man. The first time it was kind of tough, because when I first moved, I was like 10 years old, and you know, naturally you don't want to leave your friends behind and the place that you grew up in, and it's kind of scary to go into the unknown, especially at a young age. But I thank my parents every day, man. That was like the best education they could have given us, to me and my sister, is to move and to be able to travel the world like we did at such a young age, to be exposed to different cultures, to learn different languages. It was honestly the best blessing they could have given us.
Amazing. So you began to feel the calling to master the art of movement and share it with the world around the time you were in college?
No, it came a little afterwards, honestly. When I was in college, I was studying international business and finance, and then I landed a job in interior design. I worked there for like a number of years, and then I was working as an assistant, as a personal assistant back then, and I got a job offer out here in Los Angeles for same like high net worth client out here. They had heard I was very well at what I did, and so they offered me a job out here. That's what got me out here originally, and I thought I was never going to leave New York, but I ended up moving out here and just completely fell in love with the place and decided not to leave. And that's when I got introduced back into the acro community, the acrobatics, and the beach out here with everyone's like just so movement oriented. Love being out in nature, and so it was like it felt like home.
Beautiful. And that.
Do you want to move, by the way? Do you want to switch?
No, this is a great spot. I'm just going to be getting in a few different positions probably throughout this. For everyone listening, we're in a tree, up in a tree. We're both somewhat precariously perched, but there's a lot of different comfortable options. If anyone has been in a tree, that's one of the beautiful parts about being in a tree, is you have so many different possibilities, what to do, where to be, and how to relax. Like, you just got another great chair.
Happy to switch any point.
Sweet. I was going to mention that we met at the park on the beach that you mentioned, original Macho Beach. I've met a lot of amazing friends there. It's such a beautiful, powerful place.
Man, that place is so special. The green in Santa Monica, it's like, I tell people all the time, it's a vortex. It hones in the people that are meant to be there, people that are passionate about movement, health and wellness, and like it brings a lot of people from, cut from the same cloth. And yeah, so grateful to have met you. Like most of the people I work with nowadays, like my soul family, my like adopted brothers that I, chosen family, all those people I met out here in Santa Monica. And that's, one of the biggest reasons why I chose to stay here was because of the community I found out here.
That's what keeps me here as well, and draws me back is the amazing people that are here and this place, Muscle Beach.
Yeah, because you've been on a little bit of a nomadic journey lately, right? And like trying to explore different places. You feel like you keep gravitating back towards LA?
Yes. Yeah, trying to find a better place or a different place, and it's difficult to do.
I hear you, man.
So at this community, when you began to train movement, what did you find? You mentioned acrobatics. For everyone listening or watching who's a little bit unfamiliar, how do you describe that?
So it's actually more commonly known as acroyoga or partner acrobatics. It's very popular out here in Santa Monica at the Green, and it's basically where you find two or more people and you create stacks or different shapes with the human body. So for example, something as simple as like standing on someone's shoulders or handstanding on top of someone else. And it gets really intricate and elaborate the more people you get involved or the higher levels you go up. But it was really cool, man, because after I moved to New York, I quit gymnastics from ACL injury, and then I decided, okay, my acrobatic career is done, is over. And I started getting into martial arts and kind of left gymnastics behind. And it wasn't until I got back out here in Santa Monica that I started exploring acrobatics again. And then I realized, one, my knee was perfectly fine. I could do this stuff again. And delve into this new practice of partner acrobatics, because I was used to doing just more solo acrobatics as a gymnast. It's like a very individual sport, although there are like still teams and stuff. But it's a very individual sport. But this is cool because partner acrobatics, you work a lot on like communication and like kind of gauging each other's like comfortability with certain skills, and then also there's a point of like the point of calibration with each partner. Each partner is slightly different. We all have different bodies and we work with different skill sets. Some of us have like different strengths, others have different weaknesses. So learning to like play to your strengths and compensate for the weaknesses together. It's a very awesome and collaborative sport.
It is, and it's not so widespread. A lot of people maybe have never seen it before, especially in person. What are some of your favorite moves to do in the acrobatic world with partner acrobatics?
A classic one, and one of my favorite ones, which actually I'll do for you right now, is standing on your shoulders. No, I'm kidding. Actually, maybe. Can we? You think here? Why don't you just get over here? Sit right here, and I'll stand right there. So a classic acro move is called a two high, which is where you stand on someone's shoulders like so. You good down there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So the flyer, we want to keep our heels together. The base rides their head onto the flyer's shins, just like that, and then that is where we are able to balance, just like so. No hands. And we're coming down.
Do the whole podcast like that.
Yeah, so that's called a two high, where essentially you're standing on each other's shoulders, and it seems very very impressive and very hard for most people, but it's a lot of people are able to do it. I feel like you have no idea the amount of beginners I've based in that move, and everyone's so blown away by, oh my god, I just did that. Wow. It seems very far out of reach for most people, but it's not until like you walk someone through it, and of course you have to have like trained professional to help you through it. But that's one of my favorite things about partner acrobatics, is being able to share the love for movement and being able to blow people's mind and be like, oh my god, I didn't think I was going to be able to do that, and here you are proving yourself wrong.
Such a simple and amazing way to unlock this realization, like, wow, I can do hard things. I can do things that I previously thought were difficult, challenging, almost impossible, and then boom.
Yep, exactly.
I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen you guys form that shape, and then a third guy come up and do a handstand on top of the hands of the middle person. So it's one person, another guy standing on his shoulders, another guy doing handstand on top of that guy's hand.
So that's called a 3 high. So 3 people high, but the last person, a 3 high hand to hand. So we'll have like, say you're down on the ground, then I'm on top of you, and then someone's doing a handstand on top of me. So it's 3 people high, and we're doing a handstand on top. Typically, that's Travis.
It's amazing. I'll link a video of that down below for everyone who wants to see it. Imagine going to the park and seeing that happen. For most people, that's just like not a reality, but here it is. In Muscle Beach, that sort of thing just happens.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool to also look back at the history of Muscle Beach, man. It's like we'll see photos of like people back in the day, like the crazy stuff they used to do. Like here we are like pushing the limits and doing what they used to do, and man, they did some crazy moves, man, back in the day. You see, there was one photo of this girl. I'll try to find this photo for you, actually. I think it's a girl or a guy bridging, and then on top of that you have, I think, 2 or 3 high people standing on top of someone's bridge, bro, like back bending like this. Insane.
It's wild.
Yeah.
The things that people used to do before everyone became like unhealthy and watching TV.
Sedentary?
Yeah.
Sedentary? How do you say that? Sedentary?
Yeah. It's wild to think about that sort of thing was happening back then, and it's still happening here. And it would be great to see that happening all across the country in every park in America.
Yeah. You know what's actually surprising? It's it isn't that common like you said, but it is getting more and more common. Actually, you look up on Facebook, look up acroyoga groups, and most cities now have different acroyoga groups, which is kind of mind-blowing. Whenever I travel, like I'll try to find like a community to go like train and play with, and you'd be surprised how many people there are. They're like small niches, so like not many people know about it, but you look it up and it's starting to pop up in different places.
That's great to hear. I love that practice because it's a way for people to collaborate and work together and be together. And just like you mentioned, it involves a tremendous amount of coordination and muscularity, but also trust.
Trust and communication, for sure. Yeah.
Those are great qualities to develop.
100%.
So you began practicing this with friends that you met at Original Muscle Beach. How did it evolve from there?
Yeah, so it was the core group of people was like, you'd have like Travis, James, our friend Tarzan, and like a few other, like you got Soup, that's like a classic Muscle Beach icon out here. Like you have a few regulars that would go out there all the time. And so over the course of a few years, I started training with them more and more often, and we started getting creative with our movements. And at one point, my friend Travis, he decides to put a team together, and we go on America's Got Talent. So we started training for that. It was Travis and James who were the acro base and flyers, and they taught myself and my friend Nathan acro. Nathan, who's also a gymnast, and so they were like our acro teachers, and they taught us everything we know about acro. And together we created a collaborative like routine, putting some like crazy ideas together, man. We started developing acrobatic weightlifting, which had never been done before, which is a combination of partner acrobatics and weightlifting. So picture 2 guys standing on each other while lifting barbell weights on top of their heads and tossing it in midair. Some stupid shit that we definitely should not have done, and I don't encourage anyone to do either.
Amazing. How did the America's Got Talent show go?
It was great. We made it to the, I think, quarterfinals here in the U.S. But then shortly after that, man, it just kicked off our careers, our performing careers. We went on a European world tour. We had offers from France, Italy, and Georgia's Got Talent back to back to back to go on to their live shows and compete and perform. And the following year was just like a traveling and performing acrobatics. And we made it to, I think, the semifinals on all these shows, and did pretty well. After that, we just continued to perform more live shows as well. Amazing.
Do you have any favorite memories from that time?
Yeah, dude. When we were in France, when we finished France's Got Talent, I remember our buddy James mentioned he points out that there's this huge line of people outside the theater waiting to like meet and greet like the performers. So we rush out and we started like lifting some people, and then he says, we're not going home until we lift every single one of these people. And there was like probably like 100 people, dude. We were out there for hours, dude, just like lifting every guy, girl, grandmother, grandfather, you name it. they all came up and we started lifting them. We had a blast, and that was honestly like one of my highlights of that tour. But yeah. But another highlight that we had is like after we did these live television shows, we started performing for NBA halftime shows, and one of the moves that we do is like a 3 high, which is 3 people standing tall, and we dunk from the free throw line. So the flyer jumps like Michael Jordan fucking dunks on the free throw line, and usually it's Travis. Travis is the flyer. Like, he's the one that does all this, but he was injured at the time, so I had to step in as the flyer, and we did that dunk, and that was my first time dunking from the free throw line. Man, dude, that was insane. I think we had, I don't know, was it 15 or 20,000 people in the stadium, and then on top of that, like, dunking from the free throw line. That was like kind of a childhood dream, man, because when I was a kid, I was really into basketball too, and there was a small time where I wanted to become a professional basketball player. So it was just like going back to that like kid like mentality, and like my, I don't know, 8 or 10-year-old self like high-fiving me, be like, yeah, man, that was freaking awesome, you did that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's somewhat of a dangerous or risky practice. Did you ever have any accidents or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it comes with the job, you know. It comes with the trade. Like, thankfully, nothing too crazy. One time we did have like the barbells clash and like land, and it hit like James's knee, but thankfully he was all right. Nothing too crazy, except Travis, he did injure, he like broke his ankle on one time, but that was because we didn't have the proper mats in one of the halftime shows, and they really wanted us to like throw the skill, but we had requested like a 8-incher mat, you know, kind of like the people that dunk from like the free throw line with the trampolines. They have these like thick mats, but they wanted us to do it on like a 2-inch carpet bond foam, and so we did it during practice. We did one, it was fine. We decided to do another one, and he just like snapped. He landed wrong, snapped his ankle, and he was out.
Damn.
So that was kind of scary. But as far as myself, thankfully no crazy injuries from acrobatics nor stunts. It's always in like the smallest, stupidest things, man. It's like getting in and out of the car, like twisting your ankle, or like my knee, like it'll still pop in and out of place sometimes, but like literally like one wrong move, if I'm like sitting down in this awkward position and I get up, I'm like, oh, I like clicked in the wrong place, and I gotta like put it back. But thankfully not whenever we're doing any of the crazy stuff that we do.
Nice. Yeah, important point there for everyone listening who's inspired to try this. Get big, thick mats if you're going to be doing high level aerial stuff.
Take the proper precautions for sure.
When did you start riding motorcycles?
Started riding motorcycles when I was in New York. I was like 19, I think, or 20. Yeah, I was like always fascinated by like cars, motorcycles, bikes, you know, anything adrenaline driven. Like, I love that rush. And I had ridden like, you know, few motorbikes like when I was a kid, but like nothing too crazy. Like, didn't really have any proper riding experience. But this one year I decided, I was like, you know what, I just want to get a bike. So I just bought a bike and started riding, and that was like my main source of transportation in New York, which was freaking awesome, dude. At first I started off longboarding in the city, and that was a rush. Then I graduated to like biking. I became a bike messenger and like zip around town, and then the final step was the motorcycle. I was like, it was awesome, dude.
I've seen some of the videos you've made riding the motorcycle around with like samurai swords, and it does look like it's very superhero-esque the way that you do it, flying through traffic. And I've seen some of the motorcyclists in California. It's different from the rest of the country because you can weave in and out and like go in between cars legally. So you'll just be driving on the highway and all of a sudden,
yeah, exactly. It's one of the cool things about California. It's like lane splitting is legal out here. Like in New York, you can't do that with that. I mean, you can, but you could get a ticket. The cops will stop you.
Have you done any long motorcycle trips or road trips or anything like that?
Yeah, done a few out here with like a few different motorcycle groups. Done one with Harley where we drove to Palm Springs into the desert and back. Did a ride with Triumph motorcycles a few years ago where we went through like, what was it, Montana, Utah, Wyoming, those states over there. We did like 4 different states. It was a crazy long trip, and we were documenting the trip. So at one point, like, I was riding motorcycles and filming the people, and then I'd be like on the back of a moving pickup truck, also like hanging out and like capturing the shots, and also riding passenger on the other times. It was insane.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Do you still perform acroyoga, or have you moved on to new things?
Still do acroyoga, and like there'll be like a handful of like acro festivals that I'll teach at throughout the years, and not to mention our own that we created. Our team is named Positive Impact Movement, and every year we host a movement festival at the Las Vegas Circus Center, which is like the biggest circus gym like in the States, like world renowned. Like all the Cirque du Soleils go and train there for their like acts on the strip and everything. So it's like the mecca of like circus gyms out there. So we created this movement festival, and we say movement festival because it's not just acro yoga, but we have like trampoline, we have pole, we have contortion, we have dance, we have ninja warrior. It's a wide variety of disciplines all under one roof.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, you should come out sometime.
I would love to, and I'll link that down below too, Positive Impact Movement, so everyone who's curious can check it out. And you do a lot in the realm of like movement and adventure and action. Another example of martial arts training. We've trained martial arts. I know you've been training for a long time. How did you get into martial arts?
Well, when I was a kid, my mom put me in karate, and so I did that growing up. But then after I injured my knee in gymnastics, I was like, okay, what's next? And naturally, I had this inclination to dive into martial arts again, so I started taking up Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and trained that for like 3-4 years, and then took a break and started working a lot, like kind of like got a little sidetracked from like all the movement stuff. But it wasn't until I got back out here that I started training that again, and then naturally combining my martial arts and gymnastics background, I also got into stunt work. So nowadays it's become part of my regimen, my routine, to keep up the training for both like myself, but also like film fighting and stuff like that.
What have you gotten out of training martial arts?
Oh man, so much. Like discipline, the mental aspects of it, humility, also confidence. Like I think martial arts is a great sport for many people to have, but specifically for men. It's a great way to like ignite that inner fire within yourself, like continue that primal essence of yourself, cultivate that, because we live such a soft and easy life, for lack of better words. And I think it's good, especially for men, to undergo periods of like duress and hardship, and like do hard shit consistently, get beat up consistently, you know? Like it's how we continue to grow, we continue to learn. And yeah, so I'd say discipline, mental fortitude, resilience, and respect has been what I've learned from martial arts a lot.
So well said. And I agree 100%. It's such a powerful practice for developing those qualities, characteristics, and virtues that it's really difficult to find that any other way.
100%, yeah.
I remember we did a little jiu-jitsu day in the back of your place, and you ended up choking me out with a collar choke. I was like, oh, this is fine. This is no big deal. Then all of a sudden I was getting these visions of like, I think it was from my life, just like flashing. I think my life flashed before my eyes. And then
So
I wake
true.
up, come back to reality, and I'm like, what just happened? Did I get choked out?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was like, when we were choking, I couldn't see you, because we were in this awkward position where I was like, I was doing a baseball choke on you, and then I couldn't see your face, and I couldn't feel a tap or anything. But then all of a sudden I felt you go limp, and I look at you, and I'm like, your eyes go rolling back, and I'm like, oh shit. So I grab your legs, and I'm like trying to get the blood rush back to your head, and then you wake up and I go, what happened? Did I go out? You're like, yeah, you went out. And then you were like, cool.
It was pretty awesome.
That's awesome, dude. No, and I love that. I love that about you, and I love that mentality of like, you know, you get choked out, and you're like, what happened? You're like, did I get choked out? Yeah, cool. Were your first words to come out of your mouth? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I would have said the same thing, dude.
This is what I love about jiu-jitsu in particular, because you can get to that end point where conceivably you've slain me, right? If I was attacking you, like you've conquered me, I'm like dead in that scenario if I was trying to like actually like get you, and everything's fine. Like even if you get choked out, you just come right back and you're like, oh, we're like back in this, as opposed to if we were, you know, like training Muay Thai and you knock me out, that's a pretty serious injury.
Yeah, it's a little harsher. You're right. That is the cool thing about jiu-jitsu. There's like more, I guess, Controlled safety in a way, where you can push the limit of that a little more compared to like Muay Thai or MMA, where the blows are harsher. Like, get hit to the head, like, bloody noses, broken noses, which also has its benefits, but but no, I do love that about jiu-jitsu. You're right. It's kind of it's like human chess, and it's like a more safe and controlled way to be able to like explore those movements without actually killing each other.
It's great point. And you mentioned that part of your practice now is to develop yourself to be capable for stunt performance.
Yeah.
How did that come to be, and how's that going?
Like I mentioned, ever since I was a kid, I always like looked up to superheroes and all the movies and TV shows I'd see on the TV, and I always wanted to become a stunt performer. And like when I was a kid, I'd see like superheroes do these crazy backflips and stuff, and I told my mom, like, I want to do that. I want to learn to do that. So she put me in gymnastics. First it was to learn the backflip, and I learned to do all those things, and then eventually it just became this childhood dream. I was like, man, it'd be really cool to become this like a stuntman for movies. And it wasn't until I actually got out here in LA that I actually started seriously considering that, and I was just like so close to the industry, and like I had all the skills to my at my disposal, and I was like, all right, well, it's now or never if I'm actually gonna try this, and decided to just dive right into that.
What is it like from the inside? Are you taking just like a bunch of punches like to the chest, flying backwards over and over again to get different shots? Like what is it like?
Well, in stunts, it's a lot of like camera angles, and like the biggest thing about stunts is safety. You don't actually want to be hitting your partners. You don't actually want to be taking these blows over and over again, because when you're on set, when you're shooting something, you're gonna have to do this like anywhere from like 10 to 100 times. Like, it's not just gonna be like a one take wonder. If you ever get that, it's like a magical unicorn shot you never get. But the director and like the producers are gonna want to do it over and over and over again, because there's so many different variables. There's the camera guy, there's the performers, there's maybe the lighting, so you want to do it in a way where it's safe for people to repeat it over and over again. And yes, sometimes you have to take certain blows to the chest or land on hard ground, and you're gonna have to be able to take that over and over again. But you take as many precautions as you can. For example, you pad up where in places that you can. You, like, say if you land on your back, you have like a spine protector underneath your clothes. And then whenever we're actually hitting each other, we're like stacking the punches that you're not actually gonna hit someone. Like imagine what we were talking about, the blows over and over again. Like, you don't want that to happen, but it's a combination of angles and also like performing in stunts where like you cross the angles just right so that on camera it looks like you actually got hit. In combination with the strike and the reaction, it gives you that cinematic effect of like the fights that you get.
It reminds me a little bit of how you're describing acroyoga, where you've got this component of like trust, coordination, collaboration.
100%. It's like a dance between them too. It's like there's a dance in acroyoga, and there's a dance in fighting for film as well.
What's your goal with that?
Just go as far and as high as possible, man. Like Marvel, DC movies, like push the boundaries of what's possible and become a real life superhero. Like not only on camera, but on the day-to-day as well. Embody that as much as you can, and then be able to bring those skills and expertise to set and to these movie productions and TVs and films, and be able to share that with the world, because it inspired me as a kid to see that, and I hope to be able to inspire other people as well.
I can see that clearly. I can see you as an action hero someday.
It's gonna happen.
Yes.
It's happening.
100%. I mean, who wouldn't want to have Andreas as like you as a stuntman, or even as like an action hero? It's like hard to find anyone who has the skill set that you have.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Another aspect of you is the Awakened Warrior. Tell me about that.
So the Awakened Warrior is a company that Travis and I founded. Its goal is to help awaken your inner warrior spirit that we all have, whether male or female, it doesn't matter. But what we do is we take groups of people, go camping out into nature, and we train a variety of different modalities to help awaken that inner warrior spirit within. And our 3 pillars that we base our teachings off of is like mind, body, spirit. So it's not just the physical aspect of things, but it's the mental and the spiritual components as well. So yes, of course, we're training like these martial arts, we're training these acrobatic moves, we have like ninja training as well, but we also focus on teachings such as like mindfulness, meditation, yoga. So there's yin and yang. And we have like energy workers that come to our retreats, and they'll do like sound healing, and we'll have like certain like intentional like morning meditations to get into the right mind space. Picture like real life Jedi training. If you were to go to Jedi school, what would they be teaching you? And it's all these different like disciplines.
That sounds awesome. I'd love to get to one of those retreats, and I know you also have sort of micro retreats, workshops every once in a while down at Muscle Beach, which I've been to a few of those, and they were a ton of fun. We did a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah, for sure. Man, dude, you fit right in. You're like the perfect candidate for this, and if not like leader of your own as well. Like, you've created the movement meetup, which is very similar, like getting out into nature and moving your body. Community like is a big part of what people come to us for.
It's so powerful, and it's such an amazing service to the people involved, because so many people need that, not like just want it, but they really need it at a deep level. We need movement, we need nature, we need community,
and we need play too.
100%.
That childlike spirit that we tend to just disregard after a certain point in our lives. Keeping that alive, that's what keeps us youthful, that's what keeps us healthy.
And you really integrate play in your life a lot. What I'm observing over your arc that you're describing, you started with playing acroyoga, became so good at it that you were traveling the world showing this practice, and then you continued to evolve that practice and your martial arts and weaving them together into stunt work, which is also a form of amazing play. And through this journey that started, you were working, at a 9 to 5 essentially that a lot of people are stuck at. You've been able to really self-actualize and share these arts across the world. How do you do that? What are some key principles and practices that have allowed you to get to that point?
To incorporate play?
It could
or
be
just breaking out of the
play,
matrix,
or just
definitely.
In general, like this journey of self-actualization, this hero's journey that you've been on.
So I'm gonna find another spot, and we're gonna continue this conversation. Well, where should I start? First, that's a good question. Let me see. Well, one was breaking out of the mold of what society tells you to do, is like, find that 9 to 5 job. Actually, let me backtrack. First is breaking out of the mold that society tells you that you need to fit, which is go to school, get a job, get married, house, white picket fence, kids, all that stuff, and understand that everyone's on their own journey. There's no timeline for this. Everyone's going to be going through different lessons in different part of their and different phases of their life. And to trust your intuition. But a big part that's allowed me to develop all these was breaking out of the 9 to 5 schedule, corporate job type of thing, and working odd jobs, being self-employed, and that has allowed me to explore more avenues that light my soul on fire. It allows me to, has given me this freedom that not many people have, that have like a classic job, because you're like 9 to 5, you're in the office, you're sitting at a desk job, you're not moving your body, and then after 5 o'clock, you have maybe 1 or 2 hours in the day of sunlight, and then you go to bed and you repeat, and you just have weekends. Being able to break out of that mold has allowed me to dive into the things I'm truly passionate about, spend more time out in nature, exploring different ways to play, and that ultimately just becomes it boils down to the things that you enjoy doing. It could be as simple as going for a bike ride in the middle of the mountains with some friends, or going playing pickleball, volleyball, anything that gets you outdoors and moving your body. It's different for everyone.
It reminds me of a few things. One is to answer the question of what do I do with my life, and a good answer is something along the lines of do what lights you up, because the world needs more people who are lit up. And
Exactly.
Another is, as you walk the path will be revealed.
100%. I believe that if everyone were to just drop everything they're doing and do the things that they're truly passionate about and love doing, the world would be such a better place, because people would be in a better mood. They'd actually enjoy the work they're doing. And if everyone pursues their passion, I believe that we're born with certain passions and desires that we like in this world, and if we were to follow that, your path gets revealed to yourself, and it's only gonna become exponential from there. and because you love what you're doing, and not a single day feels like work, and it's just better. You spread positivity on the day to day instead of being at a dead end job where you're not happy. It's not lighting your soul on fire. You may have good days, you may have bad days, but most of the time you're like doing things that you don't like to do. So it kind of like drains you, and then you can't spread as much positivity in this world.
Really well said, and just reminds me of this path that you're living, a path of an awakened warrior to fight to give your gifts to the world. And I know you've also recently created a course to kind of teach more, dive deeper into all these things that you're describing. Could you tell me a bit about the course that you created?
Yeah, it's this is called the Warrior Recode, and I designed this specifically for high-performing men. So like, say someone's built like an amazing company, got all the success they wanted, and now they're at the end of the road, and they feel a little empty. They feel empty inside. They got all this success, all this money, and they thought that would bring them happiness and joy, but that's not the case. So what this course is designed to do is to reignite that inner fire, that inner joy within yourself, and using a wide variety of tools, techniques, disciplines, and ethos that I've developed throughout my life to reignite that drive, reignite that joy, reignite that childlike spirit. And at a first glance, a lot of people might think it's like a fitness program to get in shape, which yes, you will get in shape, but it goes far beyond that. It's, again, mind, body, spirit connection. It's connecting all three elements in one, because so many people train one or the other, but very few times do they combine them all. And that's where the real magic happens. You're able to awaken certain codes in your DNA that have been dormant for like many, many years, if not like centuries, and like it's time to reawaken these things.
Amazing. Sounds like an incredibly powerful course where you'll be able to learn these essential principles and practice to awaken mind, body, and spirit. And I've really enjoyed connecting with you over the years and today up in this tree, learning more about your story and your mission and your journey. And what I really love is the way that you embody and integrate both the warrior spirit and the spirit of play. It's amazingly powerful.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Andreas Alfaro, really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope we can stay in touch for many more years to come. Excited to see where you're going from here.
I believe we will, man, and I know there's going to be many more crossovers between both of our journeys. We're on a similar path with similar missions, so it's good to see you, bro.
You as well, Andreas. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.